Episode 19. How you lose the team without noticing. You think it's the staff. You thought about it. You've looked at the numbers. You've had the conversations. You've had a new person in the role. Works for a while. Then the same thing. You've tried bonuses. You've tried salary. You've even tried restructuring roles. Still the same. I want to talk to you about something because I don't think it's the staff. You've built a place where you solve things, and that's not a criticism. That's just what happened. Early on, you solved the things because it was faster, because you were better at it. Because it mattered that it got done right. And so the system learned. Bring it to you. You'll sort it. And that worked. For a while, that worked. It worked well. But at some point, solving everything stops being a strength. It then becomes architecture. The team made a rational decision. Not so much a conscious one. Nobody sat in the room and agreed to stop trying. It's quieter than that. They brought you something. You solved it. They brought you something else. And you solved that too. At some point, and there's no single moment you can really point to, they just stop bringing you things. Not because they stopped caring, but because there's no point. You'd solve it anyway. Even when they didn't need you to. Actually, especially when they didn't need you to. So they waited. And they start rooting around you. And that's not resistance. That's a rational response to the system that you built. The team don't stop caring. They just stop bringing things to you. Because you'd solve it anyway. Even when they didn't need you to. That's not a people problem. That's a system problem. And this is what really makes it hard to catch. You bring in someone new. You got fresh energy, different attitude, and it works. For a while, it genuinely works. But that new person hasn't learned the system yet. They're still trying. They're still bringing things. And then slowly, the same pattern. So you obviously conclude it's the people. I think I need to rotate them. Maybe incentivize them. Give them more reason to care. None of it works. Because you haven't actually changed the one thing that makes all of this inevitable. Keep changing the people, but you haven't changed your position in the system. New hire, works for a while, same erosion. New hire, same erosion. You concluded it was the staff, but you haven't asked what stays constant. And there's a reason why it's hard to see. Because your identity is built on being the one who fixes things. But that's not nothing. It got you here. But that same identity that built the business is the same identity that's making it impossible for anyone else to function in it. You're not the solver anymore. You're the ceiling. And the ceiling doesn't feel like a ceiling to the person who's in it. It feels like standards. It feels like care. It feels like doing it properly. From inside that identity, the team looks like the problem. From outside it, you are the problem. I've had this conversation. Not this one specifically, but close enough. I've sat with someone who runs a business, and that person works harder than anyone in the business, cares more than anyone else in the business, is burning out while his team looks disengaged. And I'm told them what I'm telling you now. What came back was, you can't trust them. They're not motivated. They don't take ownership. And all of that may be true. But the trust broke in the other direction first. They stopped trusting that anything that they fixed would stay fixed. They stopped trusting that their efforts had any consequence, because it didn't. You'd get there before them. You don't lose a team in one moment. You solve them out of the picture, one rescue at a time. You can't trust them. They're not motivated. They don't take ownership. All of that might be true. But ask yourself, when did the trust break first? And which direction did it go? There's no quick version of this. You can't announce that you're just stepping back. And you can't restructure your way out of this. You can't bonus your team into believing you've changed before you've actually changed. The erosion happened over years. The rooting around it is now how the place runs. That's not a staff problem. That's not a culture problem. It's a structural consequence of a leader who couldn't leave a problem alone long enough for someone else to own it. The team didn't leave. They adapted. And that adaptation became permanent before anyone noticed it was happening. By the time you see the rooting around, it's been true for a long time. I'm not telling you this to diagnose you. I'm telling you because I've watched someone else I respect burn themselves out of trying to fix a problem that they were the source of. The team isn't the problem. The team is the proof. You built a system that needed you at the center, and then you stayed there. And that made sense once. What would have to be true about the team for the problem to actually be yours?